What is up, guys? Forrest here, and today we're going to be talking about how to be a productive programmer. Now, there are a lot of tips that can be given to make yourself a more productive programmer, but for the sake of this video, I've broken it down to 4 categories: tools, mindset, automation, and focus. And as I won't be going over everything under the sun in this video, if you have any tips that you think are crucial, critical, any little tip that may be, leave that down in the comment section below. And if you are looking for more tips, go ahead down to that comment section and read some of those comments. Some may be good, some may be bad. You'll see the validation based on me hearting the comment and a bunch of other people liking the comment. So take all of those comments down there with a grain of salt, just like with this video. Take all of it with a grain of salt. This is my perspective. So tools. There are a lot of places we can go with tools. Anywhere from the computer you use to the mouse and keyboard, but we're really talking about software that can help you out. The main 3 being a team management tool, a text editor, and the command line terminal. My favorite team management tool is Monday.com for 2 reasons. 1, they do a very good job on what I need to do on a day-to-day basis. And 2, they are the sponsor of this video. So Monday.com, thank you for believing in and supporting what we're doing over here on the channel. I really appreciate it. I know my audience does as well. I know most of y'all already know what Monday.com is, considering it's very common in the industry. I mean, places like Uber, Discovery Channel, Wix, WeWork, and lots of other startups, or even all the way up to Fortune 500 companies, use this in their company. But as a quick overview of Monday.com, basically it is a very easy to use team management tool that can help you manage your agile development process, your bug tracking, your workflow management, your client management, your consultancy. Basically, it's a centralized platform for teams to manage every detail of their work, whether that be from high-level roadmap planning to day-to-day tasks. I'd personally recommend this tool to teams of any size, whether that be, the Ubers of the world or 2 freelancers working together to get an iOS app for a client. Speaking isn't my strong suit. If you want to check out more about Monday.com, please click the link in the description below. Take a look, consider it, because it really is a great product. The second main tool would be the text editor. Now, if your text editor is working against you, where you find yourself doing a lot more with the text editor instead of the code inside the text editor, then you should probably find a new text editor. Personally, it all depends on what language I'm coding in. If it's Java, maybe I'll use IntelliJ. I've actually been very fond of Eclipse lately. I used to hate Eclipse until my boss showed me a lot of these different hidden features within Eclipse. Now I love it. And I know that's an IDE, but that's neither here nor there. Text editor, IDE, whatever you want to use. Eclipse is good for Java. Visual Studio Code is very good for an all-around text editor. I really like it. You have the terminal window in there. Basically, any extension that you can find or need will be available with Visual Studio Code. I actually held a Twitter poll, I don't know how many months ago, but asking y'all, what do you like better? Sublime Text, Atom, Visual Studio Code? And I don't recall if it was the majority of y'all that chose Visual Studio Code, but I do know Visual Studio Code won, as in it got the most points. So definitely have a good text editor that'll work in your favor. And then the command line, terminal window. Whatever terminal window you have makes it look cool. It can be iTerm, you can have ZSH installed on it, whatever. Definitely take advantage of the terminal window because that'll heavily help you be productive. It'll just change your entire workflow. You don't want to be someone who clicks on directories. You want to be someone that types in directories into the command line, makes new directories, removes new directories, and is able to navigate through the command line because it's a lot quicker and it is a lot easier. I believe mindset is the most important aspect of being a software developer. If you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to be very good. For me, that is taking big problems, reverse engineering them into smaller, more digestible and doable tasks. Now, there can be levels to this, whether that be a big project that you have for a client that will take a month to do. You want to break down those tasks into essentially what you should do every day. And then those daily tasks, you need to make sure you break those down into about 25 to 55-minute tasks. And in between each task, take a break. Whether that be you're going to get water, you're going to the bathroom, you're walking around the building, I would suggest getting up and active for every single break, whether that be once or twice an hour. But I don't do that every single time. Sometimes I'll hop on my Twitter feed, or I'll hop on TechCrunch or Hacker News, what have you, and I'll just read whatever articles, or Medium. I like Medium. And for some of these tasks, it's almost impossible to break down a task and say this is only going to take 35 minutes of my time and then boom, I'm going to be done, because you run into bugs and problems and whatnot. And there are two ways to go about this. One would be rolling over to the next task, and then once you have time at the end of the day, coming back to this problem and solving it, or at least trying to solve it, or push it off to the next day. The reason for this is because if you run into a problem right at the beginning of the day, you can spend your whole entire day trying to fix that problem where you get nothing else done. So if you have other tasks that you can get done without solving that one first, a big recommendation would be to solve some of those other tasks, complete some of those, and then come back to that bug or problem that you were having before. However, it all depends on the particular situation, mind you. If you are still facing a bug or problem to the point where you exhausted all resources and you need to ask a fellow coworker to essentially help you solve it, a good way to go about this, a good tip that I've used myself, is to figure out how you're going to explain that problem to your coworker and explain it to yourself first. I've had times where I just kind of look over and I'm like, hey, can you help me out with this bug? And I go to explain it. And then when I'm starting to talk about the problem out loud, I start to think about more potential solutions. Everything in my mind seemed to be exhausted, but once I started to speak, I started to make realizations and connections where, oh, maybe I can try to do this, or maybe this is the solution. So when you think you're exhausted of all resources, that is one thing to do. And then if you still can't figure anything out, go ask your coworker or somebody for more specific help than what you can find online. Automation. This is a fairly simple one considering we're software developers. If there's any repetitive task that can be automated in your day-to-day life, why don't you do that? There's so many extensions, whether that be for Chrome or the text editor that you use. There are softwares out there like Zapier.com that help you automate particular tasks. And then you're a software developer. If you take 1 hour out of your day and write some Python script that'll help you automate something or keep track of something on a day-to-day basis that can save you an hour of time within the first week or two, then it'll be worth it. And this is actually an unintended circle back to Monday.com. If you don't use a team management tool and you work in a team, you can make that job a whole lot easier. Just saying. And last but not least, focus. You need to have focus to be a productive programmer. If you're somebody who thinks that they can answer every Slack message, every single email right when it comes in, alongside programming whatever application you're working on, I'd really like to meet you, because either you're a liar or you're some weird alien person who can somehow do that, because I've never met anybody who can do that efficiently. I mean, for me, I need to take like 10 to 15 minutes to dive into the actual problem. And then once I'm in my train of thought, I don't want to be disrupted by Slack messages, text messages, emails. So what you need to do, if you're anything like me or any other normal programmer in this world, put everything on mute while you're in that little 25 to 55 minute task bracket that we talked about earlier. And then you can set a little 25-minute task bracket to answer all of your Slack messages or emails or text messages or what have you. If there's an emergency, that may be a little bit different, but for the most part, you can have an hour without checking your email and there be no big repercussions. So that's one big piece of advice from me to you. Focus on what you're working on. If you're coding, code. If you need to respond to emails, and avoid trying to multitask other than maybe listening to some music while you code. And that's it, guys. I know, like I said at the beginning of this video, that I didn't go over everything because that's a whole book and a half. But for this video, I think I give you some tips that can be helpful, like Monday.com. Be sure to check out that link down in the description below, because after all, they did support the channel. I'm very appreciative for that. We're appreciative for what they do for us on this channel. And after all, my job is to supply whatever knowledge I have in my mind through the camera to y'all on YouTube. And if a company that I use and I like wants to support the channel, who am I to say no? So make sure you take a look at that link in the description below. I'll really appreciate it. Till next time, guys, have a good one. Peace. Don't forget to like and subscribe.